The Ketchco Pro Series Swimmin Grub. Now this is a really unique grub right here. Most grubs you think of as really compact, and that's a great way to catch winter bass. Those small little baits, a little bit of action on them, and they're great for suspended bass in cold water. So this one has got all that going on. It's got a longer tail to it, and it tapers down, so it's got a lot of good action that'll move at slow speeds. And then you've got a little lifelike fin and a minnow profile. So this is a really easy wintertime meal for a fish to eat. It's even got a little head design with eyes and everything, and a little hydrodynamic head for swimming in the water. And that's really what you want to do on wintertime bass, is swim those grubs through the water column and just kind of hop them off the bottom and get that nice little action on the tail and let that do the work for you. So how do you rig this thing and what do you need? Well, the best way to fish these grubs is on a jig head. I like to throw a 1/4 ounce most of the time. You can vary that depending on your water depth, where you're fishing. This is just a little mustad swimming nose hook right here. And it's got a stout little hook on it. You just want to thread that through the top of the bait and bring it right out the top. And I like to rig mine with the tail swimming downward, but that's just a personal preference. You could also rig it with the tail upwards as well. Then we get into the rod and reel and line and all that. You can throw it on spinning gear if you'd like. I like to throw 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon line, but I prefer to throw mine on a bait caster. So I've actually got this on a small profile little bait casting reel with a medium heavy action rod. I'm down here in Texas where we need a little bit more beef to get them away from the trees and whatnot, and we got some bigger bass. But if I was fishing a highland reservoir or some clearer water situation, I'd probably throw it on a medium action spinning rod with, you know, probably 8 to 10 pound fluorocarbon line. But that setup right there is great for swimming these grubs off the bottom, hopping. It gives you enough power to set the hook into the fish, drive them away from a little cover if you have to, but still not rip the hook out of their face. The conditions you want to look for with this grub are really clear water and suspended bass or bass that are close to the bottom. These wintertime fish, they really like to get close to shad, hang around shad. They don't like to move a long ways. So anywhere you see balls of shad, which is usually out close to the main lake, around creek channels, out on main lake points, roadbeds, bridges, things like that, those are where those shad really stack up, and the bass won't be far behind. There's really a couple of ways that you can fish this grub. And one way is to let it sink down to where you think the fish might be and just do a slow retrieve. And just have the action of that tail working for you around those bait fish, and the bass normally sit below them, they'll come up and grab it. Or you can let it sink all the way to the bottom and then just hop it off the bottom. And that'll just come up and that tail will slowly shimmer down. Another way to fish these grubs is simply letting them fall by vertical objects, like standing timber and bridges, even some deep docks. So if you got a standing object that you want to throw at, just make a nice little roll cast to it or pitch out to it, and then you want to let it fall on slack line. You really want to watch your line for twitches. As that grub is slowly sinking, it gives those suspended bass a chance to come over there and grab it. And the nice thing about the tail on this bait is it really slows the bait down. It's got so much water movement or bait movement that in the water it slows the bait down. Even on this 1/4 ounce, it could still be a pretty slow fall. Oh, There we go. There's one on that grub. Ooh, man, shook it right off. Threw it on a vertical piece of cover, had a standing tree there, and he hit it as it was going down. So I just kind of felt my line go slack, like it should have been on the bottom, but it wasn't. So anytime you feel that, you know you got a fish on the line. But that nice little curl tail action got him to bite.